Alright guys, so today we are going to take some notes over factoring quadratic equations where a is not 1. So keep in mind that when we're factoring quadratic equations, we want our equation to be in standard form. In standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So when we start, we are going to want all of our quadratic equations to look like that. So if you look at number 1, we would see that it is not in standard form because we have a 5 over here. So what we need to do is we need to move that 5 so it's equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. 3y squared minus 16y. Negative 7 and negative 5 is a negative 12. And that's now equal to 0. Okay, so guys, I apologize. It shouldn't be getting blurry and non-blurry anymore, so let's go. Okay, so we have 3y squared minus 16y minus 12 is equal to 0. And if we go through here, we're going to find out our a, our b, and our c. So just like over here where it said ax squared plus bx plus c, we know that our a would be 3. Our b is negative 16. And our c, is negative 12. So now what you're going to do is, because our coefficient is something other than 1, we're going to multiply a and c together. So I'm going to multiply a times c. And when I do that, that's going to be 3 times negative 12, which is going to give me a negative 36. Then I need to find what factors of that negative 36 are going to add to give me b, which is negative 16. So then I start thinking about my factors of negative 36. So I can do 36 times negative 1, which would be negative 36. But when I add 36 plus negative 1, I don't get negative 16. So that's out. I can do negative 36 times 1, which would give me negative 36. But if I added negative 36 plus 1, that would give me negative 35. So that's out. So then I think maybe 2 and 18. So what if I said 2 times negative 18? That does give me the negative 36. And then if I said 2 plus negative 18, that would give me negative 16. So this is the one that we want. We want 2 and negative 18. So then what we're going to do is rewrite our equation, 3y squared minus 16y minus 12 equals 0. So I just brought my equation down. And I'm going to break this into this negative 16y. I'm going to say 3y squared, and I'm going to use my terms from up here, minus 18y plus 2y minus 12 is equal to 0. Now, can I do that? Is a negative 18y plus 2y the same thing as a negative 16y? Yes, so I didn't really change this equation. This is just going to make it a lot easier for us. So now I'm going to look at this part of my equation, and I'm going to say 3y squared minus 18y. Is there anything I can factor out? So hopefully we see that there's a factor of 3 and y. So if I pull 3y out, if I factor 3y out of 3y squared, I'm left with y. And factor 3y out of 18y, I have 6. Okay, and I know that 3y times y is 3y squared. 3y times negative 6 would be negative 18y. Now, I look at the other part. A positive 2y minus 12. And I say, what can I pull out of both of those? So, hopefully you would say a 2. So I'm going to pull out a positive 2. And if I pull out a positive 2 out of 2y, I'm left with y. And if I pull out a positive 2 out of negative 12, that would be a negative 6. So hopefully now that you are seeing that we have something in common here. which is our y minus 6. So we have a 3y plus 2, so 3y plus 2, and a y minus 6 equals 0. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set each equal to 0. So I'm going to set 3y plus 2 equal to 0. And I'm going to set y minus 6 equal to 0, and I'm going to solve. So y minus 6 equals 0, just add 6 on both sides. That zeroes out, and y is equal to 6. 3y plus 2, subtract 2. 3y is equal to negative 2, divide by 3. Y is equal to negative 2/3. So my two solutions for this quadratic equation up here is going to be negative 2/3 and 6. Okay, so I'm going to check, I'm going to show you how to check with 6. So if I had 3y squared minus 16y minus 7 equals 5. If I were to check everywhere there's a y, I'm going to put a 6. So 3 times 6 squared minus 16 times 6 minus 7 equals 5. So 6 squared is 36. 3 times 36 minus 16 times 6 minus 7 equals 5. So if I was to do 3 times 36, 3 times 6 is 18, 9, that's 108. 16 times 6, 6 times 6 is 36, so that's 96, minus 7 equals 5. 108 minus 96 is 12, so 12 minus 7 equals 5. 12 minus 7 is 5, so we know it's true. Okay, so let's do another example here. You see right here we have 7n squared is equal to negative 24n plus 16. So we need to get everything equal to 0. I'm sorry, we need to get in standard form. One of these sides needs to be equal to 0, and they're not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these two terms to the other side. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to do 20 plus 24n to move that over. So I have 7n squared. I'm going to move my positive 24n over. And then I have a plus 16, so I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 16. And when I do that, now it's equal to 0. I'm going to label my ABC. It's in standard form. So my A is 7. My B is a positive 24. And my C is a negative 16. So then, because my coefficient is not a 1, so because there's a 7 here, I'm going to multiply my A times my C, which is my 7 times negative 16. And I'm going to get 7 times 6 is 42. Don't forget, y'all can use a calculator. I don't have one. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 4 is 11. So I get negative 112. And then added together, I need to get a B, which is 24. Okay, so now I'm going to say, what are my factors of negative 112 that add up to 24? So I could do, I'll go here to my factors. I know it's negative, so one of my factors is going to be negative. I could do 112 times negative 1. But when I add them together, that's going to give me 111. Obviously that's not going to work. Same thing if I did negative 112 times 1. When I add them together, it's not going to work. It's just going to give me a negative 111. This should have been 13. Okay. So then I'm going to think about, I could cut 112 in half, and it would be 2 times 56, or negative 2 times 56. But when I add them together, negative 2 plus 56 is 54. So we're getting closer to that 24, but we're still not there. So I don't think a negative 56 times 2 is going to work either, because that would just give me negative 54, not our 24. So what I am going to choose is the next one I can think of, which is 28 and 4. So if I did a positive 28 times a negative 4, I get negative 112. But then I think, okay, what is 28 plus a negative 4? Well, hey, that's 24. Sweet. So this is the one we want. We want 28 and negative 4. So we're going to rewrite our equation up here. And when we do that, we're going to write 7n squared plus 24n minus 16 equals 0. And I'm going to replace this positive 24n to make it easier to factor with a positive 28n and a minus 4n. Because positive 28n and a minus 4n, if I combine like terms, I still get that 24n. Then I'm going to start on the first half, and I say 7n squared plus 28n. What can I factor out? What are my common factors? So we're saying 7n. If I take 7n out of 7n squared, I'm left with n, plus, if I take 7n out of 28n, I should have a 4 there. Okay. Then I look at the back part. I have a minus 4n, subtract 4. Okay. What do I have in common there? You should see a negative 4. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4. So a negative 4 factored from a negative 4n would leave me an n. And if I have a negative 4 out of negative 16, that would be a positive 4. So hopefully you see our pattern again. We see an n plus 4. Okay. So when we write it, we have a 7n minus 4 and an n plus 4 equal to 0. So now I set each parentheses equal to 0 and solve. I'm going to do n plus 4 equals 0 because it's just easier for me. Subtract 4. That zeroes out. So one solution is n is negative 4 over here. Add 4 on both sides. Divide by 7. The other solution is 4/7. So my solutions could be n could be negative 4, or it could be 4 over 7. I'm sorry, negative 4. And if I wanted to check, I could use my calculator, and I could plug it into the original equation. And for example, I'm going to take a negative 4. So if I did 7 times negative 4 squared, would that be equal to negative 24 times negative 4 plus 16? Negative 4 squared is like negative 4 times negative 4, which is a positive 16. Negative 24 times negative 4, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 24 times 4, 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, 8, 9, positive 96 plus 16. So 7 times 16, 42, carry the 4, should get 112. Over here, if I did 96 plus 16, so it's equal, I know that that is the correct solution.